Well, pretty cool scene from this morning on the Today Show, and that only added to the anticipation between these two teams. And it was two teams who really wanted to keep the undefeated status, Harker Heights and Permian. And Aaron Gelvin is out there since it is our game of the week. Aaron, how'd that one go?
Well, our game of the week certainly lived up to its name. In fact, we might have had an early game of the year candidate here tonight. The Permian Panthers and the Harker Heights Knights both walking into Ratliff Stadium 3-0, and one of them was going to walk out with their first loss of the season. Let's quickly get to those first half highlights. Defense has been the key all season long for Mojo, and they'd need a great effort tonight if they were going to stop an impressive Knights running game. And early in this one, it was that run game that punished Permian, as Knights QB Dylan Plake keeps it himself here to score, and Plake would do it again, this time on a quarterback sneak that put Harker Heights in front, 13-0. The Panthers would fight back, however, as Jaquan Richardson would dart his way into the end zone to have his Panthers down just one score early in the second quarter. But the rest of the first half would belong to the Knights as Amir Washington finds the end zone here, and Harker Heights continually attacked the edges of the Mojo defense, tacking on another score before halftime to lead 27-7 at the break. Here with the quarterback of the Permian Panthers, Rodney Hall. Talk me through that final drive a little bit. You guys are going down the field, seconds to go. You got to lead that team.
Yeah, we just had to, stay calm. That's all we had to do. We would stay calm, just run our stuff, run the basics. That's what we did. We just had to stay calm, run the basics, and that's what we did.
Well, that's right. The Permian Panthers, they score 21 unanswered points in the second half. They win it by the slimmest of margins, 28-27. It was quite a battle in the fourth quarter of this one. A final drive by the Panthers to win the football game with just seconds to go. Rodney Hall was phenomenal tonight, especially in the closing moments, and Jeff Ellison's team, they improved to 4-0 with two straight comeback wins over very good football teams. Mojo, they are back indeed. That's going to do it here from Ratliff Stadium.
Well, thanks, Aaron. That one sure lived up to the hype. You really were right about that slimmest of margin. Mojo continues to go 4-0. That game over at Ratliff wasn't the only one that came with a lot of hype. The team over in Midland also had a tough test in number 8 Steele. And our reporter Jason Freund was out there with a front row seat into all the action. Jason, how'd it go?
Well, if we want to talk about action, we had ourselves that and a lot more, because here right now in the first half, this game started off a little bit slow as Steele took the lead at the beginning, but leave it up to Midland Legacy to hang in there and claw away, leaving it up to 21-14 in the first half as Marcus Davilo was doing his thing and throwing passes and slinging touchdowns. Let's take a look at those first half highlights and see what we got. Midland Legacy Rebels back home at Astound Stadium as they look to hand the undefeated Cibolo Steele Knights their first loss on the season. First quarter, Rebels down early. Quarterback Marcus Davalo gonna arc a pretty pass to wide receiver Aiden Serrano, but the Rebels wouldn't find the end zone that drive. However, their luck starts to turn around. In the red zone, Davalos fakes the handoff and fires a bullet to wide out Deontay Saunier, who fights off the coverage for the score. That's gonna tie us up at 7. Rebels now down 21-7, need to score. Davalos goes for it all in the end zone and has his man Saunier, who reaches up and lays out for the touchdown. The score was 21-14 at the half. Well, this game came down to the wire as Steele was winning 28-21 in the fourth quarter, but with 36 seconds remaining in this game, it looks like Midland Legacy was starting to drive as they rode down all the way to the end zone. And with 19 seconds on the board, they gave it back to Marcus Davalos, and he ran it in himself for the touchdown. They kicked the extra point because there was a false start that set them back, so they decided to go for the extra point instead. And then, unfortunately for Midland Legacy, Steele got the ball back first, scored a touchdown in overtime, and just as Midland Legacy got the ball rolling, they came up short on fourth down. I do believe that this game has Game of the Year written all over it. But that's all we have from here from us down. We had a fantastic game out here. Jenna, we're going to come back to you right now.
Well, Jason, that's now 2 Game of the Year candidates are from around the basin. Unfortunately, Midland Legacy drops its 2nd contest of the season. While both Permian and Legacy had tough battles at home, Odessa High and Midland High traveled for their contests for week 4. And we're already in Midland, so let's just stay here with MHS. It's Monterey and Midland High. The Bulldogs looking to bounce back, and that started on the defensive end in the first quarter. The Plainsmen driving early, but it was this stop that would shine. A huge hit and a great start for this Bulldogs team, and that defense translated to offense just a few moments later. Midland High in the red zone, and the run game takes over. Mecky McCoy, we've heard that name all season, finds a hole and makes Monterey pay with the score. The Bulldogs would mix the extra point for a 6-0 lead, but then the Plainsmen, they're not backing down on their home turf. They charge down the field, and it's Jaden Hibbler with the slick moves and the touchdown. Monterey nails the extra point. It goes up 7-6 in the second. And coming up, we have some exciting highlights from across Midland with Midland Christian, not to mention our very own Tyler Dupnick reporting in Andrews versus Seminole. And last but not least, top plays of the night, so stick around after the break.
We're the Midland Legacy Rebels, and you're watching Game Time on News West 9.
Rebs are back,
baby.
All right, let's go. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, mic check.
Welcome back to Game Time here on News West 9. We've got you covered with a couple of Midland programs, but if you were keeping track at home, we're still missing one that is home for the first time all season. That's right, the Mustangs are finally back home for the first time, just in time for homecoming against the winless Cornerstone Christian squad. As you can see, homecoming festivities are in full swing. The boys are ready to go, and the Mustangs would drive it all the way down the field and quickly get on the score. Special thanks to quarterback Blake Pruitt with the hustle and wheeling around to dive for the pylon. It was a close one, but it would count for 6 and the early lead. Now it was time for the defense to eat, and it would when it would really matter in a massive way. In the pressure, Zayden King swoops in and bodies cleared. The Mustangs held things on a crazy goal line stand, and MCS gets the ball again. Pruitt with the keeper, and with some help from some beautiful lead blocks on the edge, he turned the burners on, and there was no one stopping him. We would go into the half with a 14-7 lead for Midland Christian. And the Mustangs notch a much-needed win and give the home crowd something to cheer about. Now for another highly contested matchup in the area, it's Andrews and Seminole. These two teams had strong starts, and our Tyler Dupnick is out in Seminole with more on the matchup.
Yeah, Jenna, it was a fun game out here, certainly. This one, had all the opportunity to have a lot of hype to it. Andrews was looking to start the season 4-0 for the first time in 6 years. Seminole had a great home crowd out looking for their first home win of the season. We had good highlights in the first half. Let's go ahead and look at those right now. We were set up for a classic at Wigwam Stadium as the high-flying offense of the Seminole Indians played host to the undefeated Andrews Mustangs. First quarter featured a lot of defense, but we did have one touchdown late as quarterback Blake Flowers slings one over to Braden Gonzalez, who trots in for the 5-yard touchdown to get our first points on the board tonight. In the second quarter, Flowers again in the pocket, plenty of time to throw, rifles one over the middle, and it's caught for the touchdown by Kyler Kramer. 23 yards, make it 14-0. Indians in front. As we go ahead and move on to later on in the second quarter, Andrews down a 14-0 deficit, needs to answer, and they do. Noah Tellez with a 3-yard touchdown plunge to get the Mustangs on the board, who picked up tempo later on in that second quarter, and then a late turnover in the second quarter gave this opportunity to Ashton Galvan, who called his own number for the 8-yard touchdown run to put the Mustangs up 15-14 at halftime. All right, here with senior quarterback for Seminole, Blake Flowers. You guys scored 40-plus points in every game up until this point. You scored 36 tonight, so just 4 shy, no big deal. Did you guys expect to click this good offensively to start the season?
We did. We've been repping this for a long time. We knew Andrews, they have a really good defense, and they did really good against us. But we had to keep playing. We had to find ways to get open and just make plays.
Yeah, and it was really all about the playmaking of this Seminole offense tonight. We knew how good they were coming into tonight. They'd scored 40-plus points in every game so far this season. Up until, obviously they put up a lot of points again tonight. We saw Blake Flowers have 2 touchdowns in the first half. He capped one off at the end to finish it off 36-15, the final score tonight. Their defense was really good too. It's been an underrated part of their team so far this year. They've averaged 18 points per game allowed. They only gave up 15 tonight to a good Andrews offense that was shut out in the second half. So it was really impressive performance by Seminole. Can't really say enough about how good they were in the second half. They made great adjustments in the halftime locker room, outscoring Andrews 22-0 in the second half and giving them their first loss of this season. Really fun one here tonight in Seminole. Jen, it was a blast to be here.
Well, thanks, Tyler. So Andrews falls after a super hot start, a big win for the Indians. We're going to keep things going
Captains
here
tonight
on Game Time with highlights out in Ira and playing Reagan County, plus top plays and scores coming up next.
We're the Mustangs from Midland Christian, and you're watching Game Time on News West 9. Let's go Mustangs!
Welcome back to Game Time. Things are winding down here, but before we do, let's take one more trip to a basin battle. It's our last contest of the night. The 2-1 IRN host a team coming off its first victory, and the Owls picked up right where they had left off with this explosive 25-yard dash from Angel Martinez to set Reagan County up with great field position, and the squad would capitalize and score on the next play. And it was really all Owls early with the Braves, and the Braves weren't helping the cause. A turnover on downs for IRN leads to another huge run for Reagan County. This time it's AJ Avalos for a 60-yard TD, and the 2-point conversion puts the Owls up 15-0. Look at the dive for the pylon, and IRN continued to sputter on offense with another turnover on downs, giving the ball right back to the red-hot Reagan County offense, and the Owls take advantage with a fake to Martinez, who turns it to an actual pass to Nick Franklin for another score to go up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. And that wraps up the highlights portion of our show, but we'll have more highlights right after the break.
We're the Andrews Mustangs, and you're watching Game Time on News West 9.
Oh, that was
All right, let's jump right into the best of the best, starting with Trey Larson with a nice little toe drag swag in the back of the end zone. And then it was a quick link up at Permian where Jaquan Richardson, the wideout, taking this one the distance. And overtime is coming up in just a few minutes. Check on our app and our website.